class 4. Good morning everyone. So students, today we will study the 7th chapter of science, that is how plants survive. Okay, take out your books and look into your books. The points that I am going to explain you, everything is related with the topic that is given in your book. So pay attention to the explanation and look into your books and try to match it up with the explanation. Okay. So in this chapter, first we will study about the types of plants. What are the different types of plants that we find? Then what are terrestrial plants? Then aquatic plants, insectivorous plant, non-green plants, and what are the uses of plants? Okay, so look into your books and try to understand with the explanation. Reading the chapter, you have to read the chapter, okay, then only you will be able to understand. Alright, so first let us begin with types of plants. Okay, so students, we see many plants around us. Yes or no? There are many type of plants that we see around us. Okay, so there are basically how many types of plants? There are 4 types of plants. Okay, that is terrestrial plant, okay, then aquatic plant, insectivorous plant, and non-green plants. What are the different plants that we find around? There are 4 different types of plant. Those are terrestrial plant, Terrestrial, terrestrial plant. Then aquatic plant, that is then insectivorous plant, okay, and non-green plants. Now what is terrestrial plant? Plants that grow on land, on the land surface, that grow on the land surface, those are called as terrestrial plant. Alright, and what are aquatic plants? Aquatic plants are those that grow inside the water, or they grow in water. Okay, those are called as aquatic plant. And insectivorous plant. Insectivorous, what do you understand by this term? Insectivorous. Insectivorous means the plants that are carnivorous in nature. Carnivorous, that means they eat other animals. You know what is carnivorous, right? That eat other animals. These plants, they feed on insects. That is why they are called as insectivorous plant. And there are some plants which are non-green plants, which are not green in color. They do not have the green part in their body or in their body structure of the plant. Okay, I hope you understood this. How many types of plants? There are 4 types, that is terrestrial, that terrestrial plant that grows on the land, then aquatic plants, the plants that grow in water, okay, then insectivorous plants which are carnivorous in nature, and the non-green plants. Alright, we see many plants around us. Yes or no? Many type of plants are seen around us, and these plants grow in different places. Some they grow on land, some they grow in water, in plains, in desert area, near the seashores. Okay, so they have got different adaptation. Today we will study about the adaptation, that means how plants survive. Adaptation means to survive yourself in a particular place with the climatic features, okay, with the climatic features around, the surrounding, okay, the type of food that is available in your surroundings. How will you live with all these things? That is adapting in a particular place. As we human beings, we adapt ourselves from places to place. Yes or no? When we go to summer place, we need to adapt ourselves with the type of climate, the food that we get there. Yes or no? When we are not able to adapt ourselves, we cannot live there. Okay? We will die. In the same way, plants also, they adapt themselves in a particular place or particular region so as they can grow well and they do not die. Okay, and based on this, there are different types of plants which have got different types of adaptation. Okay, so now students, let us study about the terrestrial plant. What are terrestrial plant? Okay, see, look into your books. I will read out and you also pay attention to it. Okay, plants that grow on land are known as terrestrial plant. Now what are terrestrial plant? The plant those which grow on the land are called as terrestrial plant. Okay. Then land has different features such as plains, mountains and desert. There are different features in the land. We have got plains, we have got desert, deserted area, plain area, then mountainous area, the hills. Yes or no? In some part we receive less rainfall and in some part we receive heavy rainfall. For example, I will tell you, here in Rajasthan we receive very less rainfall. Yes or no? Why? Because this area is deserted and the plants here are different from the plants that grow on the plain region. Okay, and if you go to the south coast of the country, like in Kerala, Chennai, okay, you will find some plants that it is a seashore area. You will find many kind of sea there. Yes or no? So you will find different types of plants there, like the coconut tree, the banana tree. Yes or no? But here do we find coconut and banana tree here in Rajasthan? No, we don't find it. Because different plants have got different adaptative features. Okay, they adapt themselves by the climate, by the places in which they grow. Okay, some part of land receives heavy rainfall, some moderate and some very little. Okay, large flat areas of land are called plains. Now what are plains? Plains are those areas which have large flat lands. Alright, then mountains are generally cold than plains, and the mountainous area, it is generally cold than plain. Yes or no? The area in the mountains are cold because as we go high, the altitude rises, and as we go high, the temperature decreases. Okay, then dry lands receive very less rain. Here in Rajasthan, it is the dry land because we have desert. That is why it receives very less rainfall, and we find different kind of place according to the different condition of the area where the plants survive. Okay, I already have given you an example. You will not find a coconut tree in the desert because desert receives very less rainfall, and for a plant like coconut tree to grow, they need a place where there is abundance of water. That means there is lots of water. Okay, in the slide you can see there are some points related with the terrestrial plant. See, first we will study about the plants in plain. Okay, it is there in your book also. See, what are the features of plants that grow in the plain area? See, in your book it is written, plants growing in plain area can be grouped into two categories. There are two categories of the plants that can be grouped which grow in the plain area. The first one is plants that grow in the areas where there is less rainfall. Many of the trees can survive in very hot climate and may shed most of their leaves in autumn. For example, neem, peepal, gulmohar, ashok, sesam and sal. These are some different plants that can grow where there is very less rainfall also. You will find neem tree here in Rajasthan because they do not need lots of water to grow. Okay, and there are also some plants that grow in area where there is heavy rainfall, like the leaves of these plants which grow in the area where there is heavy rainfall, it is always green in color because they get the moisture, okay, the water with all the essential nutrients they get to grow. Okay, and these plants which grow in the areas where there is very heavy rainfall, they cannot grow in the place where there is very less rainfall. They will die. Okay, they are also called as evergreen trees. Why? Because they do not shed their leaf in any season. In all the season, the leaves of these plants remain green in color. That is why they are called as evergreen leaves. The trees, the plants that grow in the area where there is heavy rainfall, they never shed their leaves, and that is why they are also called as evergreen plants. But if you grow these plants in the area where there is very less rainfall, they will not be able to adapt themselves and they may die. Alright. So, for example, you can say like rubber tree, teak tree are some examples of plants that grow in areas of heavy rainfall. Okay. These are some plants that grow in the heavy rainfall area. Understood? So this is the terrestrial plant that grow in the plain region, on the land. Okay, in the plain region. I hope you understood this. Now, let us study about the plants that grows in the mountains. Now, what type of plants grow in the mountainous area? So, students, mountainous area is the area where there are hills. Yes or no? The climate is cold. Okay, in plains, the climate is moderate. Not cold, neither hot. Okay, some places are hot in climate, like the Rajasthan, it is a plain area and it is a dry area with less rainfall. So the climate is different from the plains that you find on like the places like Assam, Kerala. Okay, these are some plain area where you will find these are the places with heavy rainfall, and the trees that grow there are evergreen. Why? Because they do not shed their leaves. But in mountainous area, you will find hills with cold climate. What are the climate? It is cold climate. And according to the climate, the shape of the tree are also different. They have a different shape, different adaptive nature of the plants. Okay. Trees growing on mountains and hilly areas, example pine and fir, are usually tall, straight and cone shaped. The plants that you will find in mountainous or hilly areas, you will find the plants, they are tall, they are cone shaped. Okay, the trees are tall, they are straight, they have a straight position, they are tall in height. Okay, they have a cone shaped appearance. Okay, for example, the pine tree, the fir tree, okay, they have a needle-like leaf, so that if the water it flows, it drops down, it do not accumulate on the leaves. Understood? These features allow the snow to slide off easily, and in mountains there is snowfall also. Okay, so as the snow or water do not remain on the leaf and do not damage the growth of the plant, that is why they have the leaf in needle shape. They have a needle shaped leaf, so that the snow and the water can easily fall down and they do not stand or they do not stay up there for a long time. Okay. Then they are usually flowerless and have cones with seeds inside them, and these type of plants with cone shaped in mountainous region, they do not have flowers in them. In fact, they have got seed, but they do not produce any flower. They do not produce any flower, but they have got seed. Okay? Then the leaves of these trees are needle-like and have a waxy coating to prevent any damage from snow. The leaves are needle-like shape. The leaves are of needle shape and they have a waxy coating. Waxing means, have you touched the candle? How do you feel? It is a kind of a wax, yes or no? So the coating of the leaves are of wax so that the snow or the water, if they fall into the plant, they do not damage it. They do not damage the growth of the plant. Okay, so these are the points that is written in the slide. You can write about the terrestrial plants that grow in the mountains. Plants on mountains. See, the point number 1 is these plants are usually tall, straight and have a cone shape. Okay, then they are flowerless as they do not bear any flower, though they have got seed, but they do not bear any flower. So that is why they are called as flowerless plant. Okay, then they have cones with seeds inside them. They have cones. Okay, you will find little cones and you will find seed inside them. Okay, leaves of these plants are needle-like shape. Have you seen a pine tree? You will find the leaves of the pine tree needle shape. Okay, then they have a waxy coating to prevent any damage from snow. They have a waxy coating so that they can be prevented from any damage with the snow or water. Okay, for example, the deodar, the pine, the fir, these are some examples of this terrestrial plant that is grown in the mountainous region or in hilly region. Alright, I hope you understood this. Now let us move to the plants that is found in the desert area of the terrestrial region. Okay, the plants that is found in the desert area of the terrestrial region. Okay. So now students, what type of plants do you find in desert? You all already stay in a deserted area, right? Here in Rajasthan you find the plants. What type of plants do you find here? Like the cactus, yes or no? Then neem. These are some types of plants that you found. Babool, yes or no? Babool plant, neem plant, cactus plant. These are some plants that are grown in the desert area. See, only those plants that need very little water can survive in the desert area. The plants which do not need lots of water to survive, to grow, only those type of plants can be survived in the desert area. If you plant a coconut tree or a banana tree here, it will not grow. Why? Because those plants need lots of water to grow. So that is why they cannot adapt themselves in the desert area. And the cactus plant, if you plant it there in the place where there is heavy rainfall, it might grow, but according to the conditions and according to the plantation that you have planted, because it do not need lots of water to grow. Okay. Cactus, babool and date palms commonly grow here. These plants have developed certain features that help them to survive in severe condition of a desert. Severe condition of the desert means the hot climate of the desert. Okay, the hot climate of the desert. To save water, desert plants have the following features. Some desert plants, they have the following features in order to save the water that is present in the plant. They do not have any leaves or have very few of them. Photosynthesis is thus carried out by stems. Okay. See, it is written in the slide. Point number 1, they do not have any leaf or have very few of them. Have you seen any kind of leaf in the cactus plant? Do you find leaves in the cactus plant? No, it has got thorns. But the cactus plant, the stem of the cactus plant is green in color, which prepare food for them. in the desert, because they get very less water can be absorbed by the plant in the desert area. Okay, so photosynthesis is carried out by the stems, which are green in color. Okay, the stems of the most of the plants have got green stems, which help to prepare their food. The process of photosynthesis is carried by the stem in such type of plants like cactus. Okay, then they store water in the stem, which becomes fleshy as they store water in the stem. As they store lots of water in the stem, that is why it makes the stem of the plants fleshy. That means a little thickened. The flesh becomes thick due to the presence of water in the stem. Okay, and most of the plants, they have got thorns. Most of the plants, they have got thorns. For example, cactus, babool, these plants have got thorns. Okay, these are the examples like cactus, date palm, babool, neem tree. These are some plants that can be grown in the deserted area. Alright, as the climate is hot, humid, so only these type of plants can survive and adapt themselves in such extreme condition. Okay. So students, this point is not there in your book. Okay, plant in area of heavy rainfall, where there is heavy rainfall. Okay, see, these plants have leaves that remain green almost all year around. They are called evergreen plants. Some of the plants you will find in the places like Assam. Okay, these are the plants. Rice, like pepper. Pepper means the black pepper that you use in your spices. These plants, pepper, rice, gum plant, bamboo plant. Okay, these are some plants that can be grown in the places, in the area or places where there is heavy rainfall. They can adapt themselves very easily there. They can survive in the places where there is heavy rainfall. See, for example, rubber tree, teak tree, smaller plants like sugarcane, rice, cotton, pepper. These plants are grown in the area where there is very heavy rainfall. Okay. And now students, plants that grow in swampy areas. What do you mean by swampy areas? SWAMPY, swampy areas. Places where the soil is very sticky and clay are called marshy or swampy areas. Have you ever heard this word like dal, muddy? The place which is very muddy and the soil of the place is very clayey. Even if you put your legs there, you will go deep inside the soil. You will not be able to come out easily. In such places, the plants have got deep roots so that they can hold themselves. Okay. See, it is written in your book, swamps have sticky soil which contains lots of water. These swampy areas, it has got sticky soil which contains lots of water, and it becomes very difficult for plants to grow because their roots cannot breathe. Okay, it becomes very difficult for the plant to grow in such areas because the roots cannot breathe. It cannot breathe properly. That is why it becomes very difficult for the plant to survive in these swampy areas. And what kind of plants do they? And what kind of plants survive in such areas? See, some of the plants that grow here have roots that grow above the soil. In such areas, the roots of the plants, they grow above the soil. That means the roots do not go deep down into the soil. Okay, they float on the surface area, just touching the ground little bit with the roots so that they can absorb the water and the nutrients that they need. But they cannot go deep inside the soil as the soil is clayey and sticky. When the soil is very clayey and sticky, it will not be able for the plant to hold their body firmly into the soil. That is why they cannot withstand the soil to grow there in the swampy areas. Okay, it becomes very difficult for plants to grow here because air cannot reach the roots. The air from the soil, it cannot reaches the root. That is why it becomes very difficult for the plants to grow here. And so as to take in the air, they have got the root hairs in them which help them to absorb the air from the soil or take in the air from the soil. Okay, some of the plants that grow here have roots and grow above. Such roots are called breathing roots, and the roots that help them to take in the air, those roots are called as the breathing roots, because they help the plants to take in air so that the plants can breathe and can grow properly. Okay, because they take in air and help a plant to breathe, they also absorb water and minerals required for photosynthesis. Okay, these hair roots only, they absorb the essential water and nutrients that is essential for the plant body to grow. All these root hairs, they absorb the water from the soil. The roots of the plant, they absorb the water from the soil and allows the plant to grow well. Okay, in the swampy areas you will find plants which grow only the roots of the plants, they touch the ground. They don't go deep inside the soil. They just touch the ground. You can see in the picture, the roots are growing above the soil. Yes or no? In the swampy areas, the plants grow with the roots above the soil, just touching the ground, so that they can absorb or take in the air for the growth of the plant. Okay? And now the next one is plant on sea coast, near the sea. What type of plants do we find near the sea coast? The terrestrial plants, the plants that grow on the land, that is found near the sea coast. Now what type of plant? Now what type of water do we find in sea? The water of the sea is salty. Yes or no? In the coastal areas, you will find mostly like what plants? The banana trees, the coconut tree. These are the plants that you will find mostly in the coastal areas. Okay. They can survive on salty water. These plants can survive on the salty water. And these areas receive heavy rainfall, and these are the plants which prefer heavy rainfall for the growth. Okay, and the seeds of these plants are dispersed by water. I hope you understand what is dispersed. You have studied on the first. I hope you have studied about the dispersal of seeds. There are different ways of dispersing the seeds. Seeds can be dispersed by air, by water, by wind. Sorry, not air, by wind, by water, by animals. Yes or no? So these seeds are dispersed by water. When the seeds fall into the water, with the flow of the water, they carry the seeds of that plant to some other place, and when they get all the essential nutrients from the soil, the sunlight, energy, everything, they grow into a new plant. Okay, so coconut trees grow in coastal areas because they can survive in salty water and prefer areas that is high in rainfall. Okay, the seeds of such plants are carried off to faraway places by water. Carried off to faraway places by water means that they are dispersed by water. Dispersal means to carry the seeds from one place to another by different actions of wind, water, or some plants or animals. Okay. by which you can grow a new plant, by which a new plant can be grown, that is dispersal. Alright, so today I will finish off till here. In the next class we will continue with the aquatic plants. Okay, we will continue with the aquatic plants in the next class. Alright, so I will just revise once more. There are different types of plants, that is terrestrial, aquatic, insectivorous and green plants. Today we studied about the terrestrial plant. Plants that grow on the land area are known as terrestrial plant, and there are different types of terrestrial plants that grow in different areas of the terrestrial region, that is plain, mountain, desert, area where they receive heavy rainfall, and in the swampy areas and in the coastal areas. Okay, in the next class I will explain you about the aquatic plants. How do the aquatic plants adapt themselves in different region or different climate? Okay.